Hello everyone, it's Jamarl Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. I hope you guys are doing okay wherever you are. Does anybody know what time it is? Does anybody really care? Take a look at this. First, before I start, I have to say this because the channel is I'm sorry. I started getting this situated and my computer's doing weird things. But if you enjoy what I'm putting down and you find yourself coming back here often, please please consider supporting the show. People support through Patreon and PayPal. And there's additional content that's added onto Patreon. Actually, the last bit of content that's been added on is actually pretty badass. It's one of my favorite pieces. So even if it's $1, please consider supporting the show. $1 still helps. It's better than nothing, seeing as all of this content at this point is free. Take a look at this. This is and let's flip it through this way. I'm going to show you some pretty amazing stuff. That wasn't the amazing stuff that I was talking about. Here. Take a look at this. That's America. That's not a third world country. That's us. That's in America. That is a guy on a bike, I guess with a GoPro or something, filming these aspects of America that are left behind, not paid attention to. Those are cities that are essentially people living, human beings, out in the elements. Supposedly the economy is doing amazingly well. And beyond supposedly the economy is doing amazingly well, what on earth is your society doing that the richest society on the planet, apparently, that I'm told, that allows people to live literally on the streets, human beings living on the streets? What has your society done that allows such a thing to take place? With such a crisis, I mean, the UN has come out and said, what, maybe a third of the country is living in third world conditions? With such conditions, with half of the country living in either poverty or barely making ends meet, with large areas of country, you have like, what, 60%, I think it was over 60% of the country, couldn't afford a $500 bill. Now, understand what that means. If a car goes down, if you're doing anything of any measure that has any value, you can't replace it. You are veritably on a hamster wheel praying to God that your whatever you've constructed to barely make ends meet and keep on that hamster wheel just in case. You're left to your own devices. Is this really the society that you want? Do you really want people in these situations where they're pissed off, pressured, stressed, barely making ends meet? Is this really the society that you want? Now, my argument has always been the people who do the labor should get the benefits from the labor. The guy who's the haberdasher, the guy who's the shoemaker, the guy who's slicing your pie, the guy who's pouring you your coffee. Those people are in it. It is impossible to have those businesses without those people working at those businesses. Jeff Bezos ruthlessly exploits the Walmart worker, and yet Jeff Bezos would not have her job or not have his billions without that Walmart worker, even though he ruthlessly exploits and squeezes every bit he can out of that particular human being, using that human being like a cog in a wheel. Walmart does the same thing. Uber does the same thing. And all of these companies does this not because they're horrible, disgusting companies, but because they're completely incentivized to do those things. This is our world. Wealth ruthlessly exploited to the top, and everybody else fight for the crumbs. In the midst of a crisis like this, what I would call a crisis, CNN is talking about this.
In her tell-all book, porn star Stormy Daniels gives readers a look at her life from a deeply disturbing childhood of neglect and rape to a public battle with the President of the United States. She writes that her first sighting of Donald Trump in 2006 in his hotel suite in Lake Tahoe was shocking. Trump came swooping in wearing black silk pajamas and slippers, she writes. "What are you doing?" I yelled. "Go put some effing clothes on." And when Daniels came out of the bathroom, she claims Trump was lying on the bed in his underwear. They had sex. She then describes his genitalia in great detail. "His penis is distinctive in a certain way," she writes. Proof, her attorney.
That's not doctored. That's not doctored footage. That is CNN. Jake Tapper started this, by the way. This opens up with Jake Tapper, the fact check guy. Jake Tapper doing a hit piece on Donald Trump's penis. This is where they've gone. CNN has literally hit rock bottom and gone through the floor. And yes, I know I've said rock bottom, so it seems like an oxymoron, but it's like the difference in a temperature 0 versus absolute 0. Yes, rock bottom may be 0, but CNN has been able to plumb the depths that much more of rock bottomness. I think of all the things in the world where we have that we have to do something about. Things that people care about, things that people should care about, things that affect their lives. And what you're talking about is the president's cock. You're talking about the president's cock. There's nothing I need to add to that. The most busted name in news is doing a hit piece on the president of the United States. And it's not hitting him on policy. It's not hitting him on something he did. It's not hitting him on his environmental record. It's not hitting him on the tax cut that he's given. It's not hitting him on the tax cut he's trying to give again. It's not hitting him on any of the main substantive things. What they're hitting the president on is this porn star that the president had sex with is now talking about his cock. Oh, how presidential. Jake Tapper even makes a joke about Bill Clinton and this whole I forget the exact wording that Bill Clinton gave, but it's a pretty distinctive bit of wording that gets across that the president is lying when the president says he didn't sleep with the porn star. Now, I understand this is a legal issue where Donald Trump has to kind of fancy around, but you literally just did a piece on the president's genitalia. Most busted name in news. Of all the things in the world that CNN could talk about, of all the things in the world that CNN could even talk about Donald Trump about, of all the things that they can hit Donald Trump on, the thing that you've landed on. Somebody was in a room somewhere and says, "Hey, I have an idea. Let's do a thing on Donald Trump's cock. That'd be hilarious. That'd be awesome. Oh, let's do it. Let's do it. It's what the public needs." There's nothing much to say about this. This is, look, your media, whether you realize it or not, is not there to give you what you need in news. Your media is to give you what you would watch. There's a difference in those things. There is a financial responsibility of the media to maximize their profit. Their goal in this is not necessarily to give you things that you need. I need to make that clear. CNN is giving you news in a way that you would watch, kind of like a reality show, or kind of like a soap opera of sorts, with this extra bit of narrative that is being drawn and propagated. Whatever the narrative is. Whatever the narrative is. But this is ridiculous. I'll leave it here. This is absurd. This is utterly absurd. And this is from somebody who doesn't like Trump, by the way. Meaning, I greatly despise Trump. I deride him as a reality show host. So when I look at this and say, oh God, that's not just weird, I don't know the relevance that has in the context of a world or a country where people are struggling. They're struggling. And you're talking about his cock. Yeah, you've hit rock bottom and gone through the floor into some other level that I don't know the depths. I don't know where you are. I'm going to end it here. This is just gross. I saw it when it popped up. I was like, oh my God, that can't be real. Oh my God, yes, that's real. That is CNN talking about the president's penis. They're talking about Donald Trump's penis. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. If you enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe. You can always support through Patreon. Thanks all.